All right, everybody, welcome to One Nation, a Sports Locker Magazine Extra. I'm your host, Kirk DeMars, and thank you guys for joining me. Today is Monday, May the 19th. May is already more than halfway through. I cannot believe it, and I know that the person that I have on here, she's probably pretty excited about being done with her part in May, that she is now graduated, and I think you're going to enjoy this interview. I know I am. Hannah Nilges is somebody that I've known for a long time when she was a young lady in youth group. Um, Enjoyed watching her playing basketball in Jefferson City High School as well as going into her college career. But more than that, just an outstanding young lady, and I know you're going to enjoy hearing what she has to say tonight. Uh, Real quick before I have her come on here, I'm just going to show you. We had Hannah featured in Sports Locker magazine back in January, February 2021. It was in this issue that we did an interview with Hannah. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up her article here real quick. And you can see that she's got some awesome pictures there. Got that hair blowing. You know, we didn't have those wind tunnel fans or anything like that. That was just natural hair blowing right there. You don't see that kind of stuff with me, but with Hannah, fortunately, we were able to see that. So let's go ahead and bring Hannah on and let's get started. Find out what she's been up to. Hey Hannah, how are you doing?
Hey Kirk, I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm excited to have you on here. You're one of my favorite people, and I do not say that without meaning that. So
Right back at you.
yeah, all right. Well, thank you. You've had a busy. I'm gonna say 8 years. You've had a busy 8 years. I mean, you've been nonstop going, playing basketball, doing camps, helping out with your family and ministry and all those types of things. But um, what I would like you to do first is go ahead and refresh everybody a little bit about your time that you spent at Jefferson City High School. For those of our viewers that may not know that you attended there, I don't know how they couldn't, but we're gonna let you talk about that a little bit. So go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. So my high school career was definitely, I don't even know if you can put words to it. Phenomenal would probably be what it was for me. Just everything could hope for. We won a lot of games, so that always helps. But really, the group of girls I had during those 4 years, they were just outstanding. My first year, we had pretty good success. Probably won about 80% of our games. But then my sophomore year, we kind of took off. Only lost 2 games that whole season. Made it to the state championship. Ended up taking second. I believe we had the finished with the best record in school history. So that was just a crazy thing to be a part of. My junior year, able to make it back to districts. District championship, and then my senior year won a district championship again. Ended up winning 3 district championships, and we only lost a handful of games all 4 years, so can't really complain about that. So,
No, you had a
mhm.
great career, and what would you say were some of your fondest memories that you had during that time?
Yeah, I mean, geez, like we were just talking about, it felt like forever ago, but also so recent. Really, probably just the bond I built with those girls, the girls in my class, especially. Just being able to start off at the varsity level as freshmen, and so experiencing the same things for 4 years straight, it really connects you and bonds you on a different level. And so I would just say, going through the grind of all of it and kind of seeing, starting from square one and kind of helping build the program up till our final year, and just seeing how it ended. And it ended, we ended out on top, and I don't know, it's just a really fun experience, and especially to do it with the same people for all 4 years.
Yeah, and we'll get into this, but
Mhm.
you had some great fan support too. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but
Mhm.
you had some people that would
Mhm.
travel around and watch you play, and I know that they loved watching you play. So uh, I wanted to real quick before we go into this next question. All of you guys that are watching, feel free to make any comments, ask any questions, and we'll try to include them in on the program. I'm sure that you've got some better stuff than I have as far as asking Hannah. You might have some inside stuff that we need to know about and that she might not be prepared for. I don't know.
Oh
I think she'll
boy,
be prepared.
got to get ready.
Good. Uh, what would you say? Is there anything that you would look back on and say that if you would have had an opportunity, you would have done this a little bit differently?
Honestly, I've been asked that different times in my career, in high school and in college, and really, I would say there's not anything I would do differently, just because every right or wrong or what felt like a wrong decision I've made regarding my basketball career, it always felt like God took it and He turned me in the right direction. So I really don't think I would change any of it because I think it every good and bad led me to who I am, and so I don't think I'd change a single thing.
Yeah. You talked about in your article, and I want to read the title of your article so that people would have a little bit better idea of what you're all about. Um, the title was Family and Faith, and um, it's a highlight of faith. And so, but you talked about family and faith. Share a little bit about how it was so important for you with faith during your high school and then even into your college years.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my family, there have always been my backbone. So anytime win, lose, draw, whatever happened on the court at practice, whatever it was, they were constant and they were steady every time I came home. I knew they would be there. Every time I went to a game, I knew they would be there. And so I think just that steadiness helped me when it came to the basketball side of things. That no matter what happened, I'd always have that foundation, and then also that goes hand in hand with my faith. God, He's our foundation. My family, they were really strong in teaching me that, and just they were really good at teaching me the things that were important and the things that really keep you steady in life. And so I think both of those things are what helped keep me grounded on days when basketball was hard or all over the place, or I didn't have answers for certain things. So,
Well, I built you up really, really good. I'm going to build you up some more here. When I had
oh
you in
boy,
middle school youth, you were always somebody that I could count on. That if we had a student that was maybe sitting by themselves, you would go over and you would kind of bring them in and try to involve them in it. I mean, you cannot you cannot know how important that was and how special that was to Miss Angela and I to have somebody that we could count on doing that. So again, thank you. I'm saying that on here in front of everybody. And if you ever
thank you.
get down, you can always pull that up and just get that thank you. You can pull it up on the internet and say, okay, he said that. We'll remember that.
I would say make sure you post this so I can go back and look.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I
Yeah, no, you're
appreciate that
good.
though. That means
But
a
I've got to
lot.
bring up something else too. I've also seen the competitive side of you, and I think your brother probably brought that out a little bit when you guys would be in there playing some basketball before a youth group, and
Maybe just a
you,
little bit. Just a little bit. Had to
you
we had to go at it and then ask for forgiveness when we went into
yes, I
church and
know.
make up and well we'd be fine by the end of the night for sure.
Yeah. Well, hey, we've got Melanie Morton Porter on here saying hello, Hannah. So
Hey Melanie.
I know you remember
Melanie's like
that
one
lady.
of my 500-second moms, so shout out
Yeah,
Melanie.
she's awesome. We love having the Porters on here as well. So,
hmm
um, Hannah, you've had a passion for basketball for a very long time. How did that all get started?
Honestly, I think a lot of it was just being around sports a lot because of my older brother Hudson, and then I just kind of fell in love with it since I was young. I don't know if I could pinpoint exactly like one time that I was like, now I know I want to play this game, but I think just I've been somebody who is very persistent. I like to work hard. I like to kind of like chase that idea of perfection and like mastering something, and so I think that's what really drew me to basketball is that it's a game of mastery, it's a game of precision, it's a game of details, and so I think probably just that it brings that part of me out a lot, and so that's probably why I fell in love with it from a young
Yeah,
age.
and your dad, he's pretty
hmm
competitive too. So I know he was right in the middle of all that. And
Oh yeah. The day I
yeah.
think the day that I started to beat him is the day he was like, "Yeah, I think your coach has got you now. Now I'm done coaching now." I think he just really didn't want me to keep beating him, but
Yeah,
I think he'd say otherwise.
that's right. That's right. Uh,
Mhm.
you and I were talking before about the missing the storm, and I'm hearing some thundering out there right now. So
Mhm.
hopefully it won't interrupt us too much, but we'll keep going. It already took out one of my lights, obviously. Maybe that
Oh
helped out.
boy.
Took the glare off my head on one side. That's good.
That's
All
funny.
right. So why don't you talk a little bit about you knew early on that you were going to attend Drake University. Why don't you talk about that and what was your experience like there?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna hear me say a lot about my basketball career. Was all God led and God directed, and they offered me fairly early in high school, and that was my first offer, my first Division One offer at least, and I committed to them within a year after I received that offer, and I stuck with it. And really, it was just because it fit all the categories that I wanted. But really, I just prayed about it, and that's where I felt like God. Wanted me to go, and so I trusted him. Ended up being a decision I didn't regret at all in the long run. Met a ton of lifelong friends, love my coaches, love the experience there. And so really it was just a God thing of giving me that opportunity, and I learned a ton from it. So
Yeah, I mean, that was quite an achievement, and like you said, they recruited you early on, and um, I know that it was probably not easy at different times. What were some of the difficulties that you had during that time?
yeah, I mean, obviously the recruiting process, anybody who has been around it or been through it, just starting from there, you have so many people who, obviously in a good way, but they want to kind of give you their input or advice on certain things to do or ways to do it. And so sometimes it was hard to you'd second guess if you did the right thing or not, or went the right direction. But I totally felt like I did. Obviously some of the struggles once you get there, I was 5 hours from home. It's a new place, a new experience, a new team, a new level of basketball. So the challenges that come with that are just learning the pace of things, learning how to fit in with new people, learning how to live with new people, just things like that. But honestly, Drake and everything they're about and the people they have, they made it almost a seamless transition. And so, um, I don't know, take the good with the bad.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you decided to switch it up again, so then you went to Pittsburgh State. Tell us about that, and was how difficult was the decision leaving Drake to go to Pittsburgh State, and some of the different people that you left behind.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably one of the hardest decisions of my life to honestly, because it just kind of uprooted everything that I had going, all the people that I had, honestly, all the community that I had and I loved. I really wasn't necessarily something that was like, like a last second decision or a quick decision. It was something that I had thought about, prayed about. Um, I asked other people their advice a little bit. And so it just, I prayed enough about it that God eventually said, it's time to go, time to, move another direction. So I trusted him, and really he just led me to Pittsburgh State. I didn't even know where Pittsburgh State was. I didn't even know it was a college, honestly, until I entered the portal and they reached out to me. And once I got on campus, shout out Corinna on our team. She's the one that kind of made a connection with me there. And that was my sign from God that I felt like this is where you need to go. And so I went there, and the rest is history.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that a little bit on how I thought it was kind of funny that here you ended up in Kansas, and that was someplace that I know that growing up and strong family opinions about the state of Kansas. So I thought, well, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been raised in Mizzou country, Tiger country, and
Yeah,
so KU, anything Kansas, everyone was, you don't even speak about it. But now my family's opinion has changed for sure.
that's great. Well, hey, we've got several people making comments here. We got is it Renee or Renee McDevitt?
Renee, that's
Renee.
yep, that's my cousin. Yeah,
All
hi
right.
Renee.
Yeah, she said she taught you everything you know. So that's
Oh,
great.
hey, she taught me a lot. I'll give her that.
All right. Karina Gerber says, "My girl," and thank you. And
Hey,
then
Corinna.
and then Tristan Porter says, "Can't forget about SIU killer drill getting you to this point in your career."
Oh boy, yeah, Tristan. I know you know Tristan, but
Yes,
Tristan and
yes,
I have been through plenty of grueling practices that they made us who we are today. But I don't know if we would, we would do them over again if we had to.
yeah. Some of those drills are, you know. So here's the sad thing. I used to be out there playing with you all in basketball before youth group and stuff like that, and my grandkids were here just a few weeks ago, and we played kickball. And I was so
Oh
sore
boy,
after we played kickball the next day. Like, how is that possible? How is that
that
possible?
is
It's
hilarious.
kickball.
That is so funny. You're gonna have to add. You're gonna have to do it more often.
Yeah,
Get your body used to it again.
or maybe not. Maybe do something else. I don't
Yeah,
know.
or maybe no. Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, tell about one thing before we go to break about leaving behind. Again, some of the coaches and friends. And are you still keeping in touch with them right now from Drake?
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't tell you how many people cried, sent me text, all that not fun stuff. Um, After I decided to leave, which really, I mean, it was a bittersweet moment because it made you realize that your time there was well spent. You made good connections, but it was time for me to go. And I think. Just with God's guidance and His leading, He gave me a lot of contentment in that. But I still keep in touch with almost all of them from up there, and I have visited a couple times. I've seen them in passing here and there, but I text them and call them at least once a week probably. And yeah, I love those people up there for sure.
Yeah, and obviously they love you, just like what we're hearing from Chad Burks here. He said this is one of the best people out there. Blessed to know her. Chad, I
Shout
absolutely
out
agree.
Chad. Yep,
Awesome.
I've connected well with Chad and helping work out a little bit with his daughter. She's worked out alongside me, and they're a really good family.
Oh, very good. You know, you guys are a great family yourself, and you're surrounded by good families, and so it makes a huge difference. Again, having that community support, and then just different people that are pouring into you, and then you're getting to pour into them. It's an awesome thing. So we're looking forward to what lies ahead. Um, you've flown through this first part of the interview. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for the second part. But you're doing an outstanding job, and um, this is good. And again,
Awesome.
reminder to people: make any comments, have any questions, feel free to go ahead and do that, and we'll try to get them on there. We've got Rhonda Jacobs says you are one of the best, and
Shout out Aunt Rhonda.
and oh, you know what? We gotta include Dad because Dad's jumping on here. Hey Hannah,
Oh
hey
boy.
Kirk. More questions about her dad's significant impact on her success, please, especially at the skills drills I put her through. So
Oh
you
no.
probably need to address that real quick before we go.
Oh boy. So obviously my dad, I give him literally all the credit to the skills that I've developed in basketball. But he every night we'd be working out and we'd think of new drills. We'd Google new drills, see them on YouTube, all this stuff, try them out. Well, he would call them skills drills, and I would
Uh-huh.
make fun of him for calling them skills drills just because I thought it was funny or silly or whatever. And we'd always laugh at him for calling them skills drills, and he would be serious while he would say it. And so throughout my basketball career, even when I'd be on one of the biggest stages or at the Final Four or whatever it is coming out of March Madness, he'd be like, "You need to go do some more skills drills." And so it's been a joke now, and I don't know. They were good drills. Just we need to work on the name.
Uh-huh. But you know what? You might just need to get a T-shirt that says skills drills on it and use that at your camp coming up. So do that.
Very true.
Oh,
Very
let's see.
true.
Renee said Nilges family in the house, and then your mom says ask her about Chief.
Oh boy, Chief, my dog. He's one that I met at Drake and brought with me from Drake. So he
Okay.
was one of my friends up there at Drake. He wasn't able to keep Chief. Chief was his dog originally. Was gonna have to take him back to the shelter, and instead, my dad was my dad's idea. I'd called him. Never asked him to take him, but I was I was a mess thinking about having to take him back to the shelter. And so my dad, being who he is, said, well, let's try and give him a chance here. And we brought him back. And I think they love him now more than I do, which is a lot. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. That happens a
Mhm.
lot. Now, I wouldn't say that that would happen in my house. Now, Miss Angela would love, the pet,
Uh-huh.
and
Oh, yeah.
I
He's a German Shepherd boxer mix. So he's not a tiny little dog, that's for
yeah,
sure.
I think about those
Mhm.
times when you're outside, like when it's storming and you're waiting for the dog to do its business, and they're not doing their business, and you're still standing out there and you're getting wet, and you know,
Exactly.
yeah, I don't miss those things. So just saying. I know there's people out
I
there that
get it
do, but I don't.
now.
All right, so
I
Mary
get it.
Osterley says Hannah is a great person raised by a great family. Thank you for sharing that, Mary.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mary's the best.
All
Our
right.
family loves her.
Well, the best bring out the best. How's that? We'll
There we go.
we'll go ahead and do our break real quick. We'll be back in just a second. Hannah, thank you again. You're doing an outstanding job, and we look forward to more
Awesome.
here in just a minute.
Sounds good.
CNS Business Services has been connecting employees with employers since 1977. Recently, CNS rebranded to CNS Employment Solutions to more clearly define their mission of serving the needs of applicants, employees, and businesses while remaining current and evolving with the changes in the workforce. One important thing has not changed. CNS Employment Solutions partners with a wide variety of employers, placing employees in jobs that match their skills and needs.
Say yes to CNS.
All right, CNS Employment Solutions, they've been an outstanding fixture in the Jefferson City community for a very long time. And they help people that are needing jobs find employers that are trying to fill those positions. So we appreciate everything that they do, as well as supporting Sports Locker Magazine and One Nation Sports Locker Magazine Extra. Along with them, we have the Coach of the Year sponsor in Big Whiskeys, and they help us to give a shout out to our Mid Missouri coaches and the outstanding job that they do, the time that they pour into the student athletes, and um, just mentoring, comforting, all the different types of things that coaches do, motivating, and they spend a lot of time pouring into student athletes. So we just want to thank Big Whiskeys for giving a shout out to them. All right. Well, we've been talking with Hannah Nilges, and we've got a couple more comments, and we'll get to Hannah on this. I'm going to let her think about it for a moment while I have her think about it. What her dad says: tell them about the $1,000 in Chief. So get ready for that, Hannah. And then we're going to ask about bouncing the ball off the backside of a girl on inbounds, but not just once, but 3 times. And then, of course, another very important thing, and we'll get into Hannah here, is that Grandma Gracie is in the house. So she's watching now.
Shout out Grandma Gracie.
Yeah. So go ahead and
Nice.
tell us about the $1,000 in Chief.
Yeah, so my parents, when we first got Chief here, which is a little bit over a year ago, he, I don't know, we've never really been a dog family. We love dogs, but just we've always been really busy. So in our house, hasn't been a huge thing. We had him at the beginning. He had a little bit of struggle staying by himself. He just wasn't used to our environment. So my parents eventually thought maybe it's best if we try and give him to somebody else who, would be able to love and care for him to the extent that he needed at that time. And so a local family in our church absolutely loved him. And they were like, if you ever want to get rid of him, like we'll take him in a heartbeat. And there was one day that they were really close to paying them $1,000 to take him just because it would have been we thought it would be a better situation. Turns out the second they thought about that, then my parents absolutely fell in love with him and they were like, we're not giving this dog away. And now we joke that we can't even fathom the thought that we ever thought about giving him away because he is our family member through and through now. So,
Awesome. That's good. They become part of the family. Okay, so Chad is saying bouncing the ball off the backside of a girl not once but 3 times. Talk about that. What happened there?
yeah. So, in my high school career, I have moments of doing things that are probably a little out of the ordinary that most people wouldn't be risky enough to try. I'm not sure if it's the greatest idea, but my high school coach, Coach K. Foster, She had an inbounds play. Only I was allowed to do it, apparently. But if the person guarding me on an inbounds play, when I was throwing the ball in, was facing away from me, I could throw it off of her back. And if you throw it off of their back and it touches another player and then you catch it inbounds, it counts as an inbounds and the ball is live. And so I did it once, then I did it twice, and then I ended up doing it 3 times in a row within a pretty short time frame of the game. And my team thought it was funny. The other team, they were probably a little frustrated with me, but it was all 3 times it turned out in something good for our team. So it was, I guess it was a smart move, but
Well, yeah, you were using your intelligence out on the court, and I'm sure that the other coach was trying to get that point across to that player that you kept doing it off of, but apparently that didn't get it until after 3 times. So
yeah, I'm sure they probably went back and film and decided not to have her guard it that way next time.
yeah, yeah. Grandma Gracie brought up another thing that I was thinking about mentioning, but I'm glad she went ahead and asked the question. Ask her about being in the top 10 on ESPN.
Oh boy, I knew Grandma Gracie. She loves this one just like the rest of my family.
Yeah.
So at our church here that my parents had pastored at the past few years, we have a big open gym, and I'd spend a lot of times in the gym while they were in the office, or doing other things. And one night I just decided to set my phone down and recorded me doing like a 180 3/4 court shot, and I chucked the ball up, swished it. My mom posted it on her Facebook. This is when I was in middle school. Ended up going semi-viral. And I think one of the friends we know had some connections to ESPN. They saw it, ended up being ESPN top 10. It was number 10, but I never get that far when I tell people. I just say it was number 10. And had my little 15 minutes of fame in middle school. They emailed it all around the middle school, showed everybody.
Yeah.
But that was my little mini claim to fame.
Yeah. So, a lot of times when people are, so like Dude Perfect, they're trying many times to get that one shot. How many times did it take you to get that shot?
Honestly, I can't imagine it was too many, but it wasn't because that was the first time I tried it. I definitely had probably worked on it for weeks. But that night, I think it was probably one of the first couple that I did. But I promise you, I probably worked on it for a long time.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty cool. If you haven't seen that, make sure you go and check it out. It was pretty awesome. Uh, we talked about coaches, and the importance of what coaches do for student athletes. Why don't you talk about? You mentioned Coach Foster. Why don't you talk about some of your coaches as high school and on into college, and how important they've been for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Coach Foster, she was my AAU coach for a few years before I went into high school. And then she was my coach in high school as well. She did a ton of, um, I don't know, mentoring is probably the best word. She just, she made me a much better person. Everyone had coached me in the basketball aspect, but she was probably the first coach I had that genuinely, molded me into an even better person off of the court. And so I owe a ton of my success in high school and obviously in college to her. She always had my best interest in mind. And I think that really relayed into the coaches that I picked when I went into college, that she was the example of the coach that I wanted, and that was best for me. And I think that really had a, like, just went straight into my college coaches, and they were all just like her, even my coaches at Pittsburgh State. And so I think she really was a great role model and example for what you should expect out of a coach.
Mm-hmm. We had her actually as one of our coaches of the issue years ago, and and had her on this program as an outstanding lady, and I know you looked up to her real well. I know you look up to somebody else here, Rodney Nilges, and
Oh boy.
he's got an interesting thing that he's saying here. He says, "You are still a chump."
Yep, that's his thing. My family, we're full of jokes. We all love each other big, and so the more you love each other, the more you can laugh with each other, and so that's his thing. And I love Rodney. He's been a huge supporter of mine. But I knew he'd have something here. He keeps me humble. That's for sure.
Yeah, I bet you could probably hear him up in the stands when you were playing ball too, right?
Oh, for I think he might have been the only one I could hear. I don't know if
Okay.
anybody could cheer louder than him.
Because that was one of the questions I was going to ask, because I do know you have some vocal family members, and I was going to ask you who was the loudest, and I think you just answered that. So,
Yep, I think him by a mile. But Grandma Gracie, if the game's getting good, I think she'd give him a run for his money.
yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Uh, why don't you talk a little bit about how did your college coaches help you through some of the challenges you faced after your high school career, both physically and mentally?
Yeah, I my college coaches were incredible. I have nothing but good things to say about them. Obviously, a little bit different experience because I had two different sets of coaches. But my Drake coaches, they still to this day, in all the 3 years that I was at Drake, they were so good at just keeping up with us and supporting us in every area, not just basketball. And they were really good at just giving us confidence to be who we are. I think at Drake, what really makes that program special and made it special when I was there is they pick you and they choose you to be unique and exactly who you are and what you bring. And they don't try and change that. They just try to bring the best out of each person that's there. And so that's probably really what I learned at Drake the most. Is just be who you are because that's what you're here for. And then at Pittsburgh State, they kind of revamped my love and my joy for basketball and it just being in a new role. And they really brought out the best in me. And so I think just the mixture of both of those things definitely made my college career what it was.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and talk about that role change that you had when you got to Pittsburgh State? Why don't you share a little bit about that?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I was at Drake and loved it, but I was kind of in the same role for 3 years, which I enjoyed, but I was ready for a little bit of a switch up in the basketball aspect. So at Pitt State, it was really kind of eye opening just to see that I still kind of, had the same basketball set that I did coming out of high school, just because I didn't get as many of the minutes as I did in high school at Drake, but then I was presented those at Pitt State, and I think my second game, I was able to hit a couple threes, and that kind of made me realize, oh yeah, I can still do this. I still got it, and so that was just really fun to experience that, just in a new role. And my teammates there, they had a team that was really set in stone when I walked in. Had an incredible year the year before, but I think they did such a good job at opening the door for me to come in, and be myself. But also they fit me into a perfect role that I think made us a really good team and a really good unit because we all played our roles really well. So Pitt State really taught me how to work with the team and work really well with the team, but also to be able to do it my way.
Yeah, that's it's good that you were able to have that opportunity again your senior year, and again you have people supporting you everywhere, just like tonight.
Mhm.
Rena says grandma and grandpa are watching, proud of you. So
Grandma Rena and Grandpa Timmy, my
yeah,
faves.
that's awesome. I'm glad they're joining
Mhm.
us tonight. Thank you
Mhm.
guys. You guys are doing a great job of interacting and bringing up comments and putting them up there, as well as Rodney. His comment and challenging you. I know you cherish that, so that's good.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you tell us about the magical year you had at Pittsburgh State, and just what was that like? What were the highlights of that Final Four season?
Yeah, that this past year, I don't know if you could really put it into words. It was kind of felt similar to my high school career of just being in that win column a lot is just something that is unique, and we didn't take it for granted at all. But I believe Sydney Holmes on my team at Pitt State, she had mentioned in one of our last few postseason press conferences that we kind of spent the year instead of proving people wrong. We were more focused on proving people right, and that we had a lot of expectations going into this year, very high expectations, but we really focused on the next game, the next task at hand, and just being able to perform well every night and just do it for each other and not do it for anything else. And I think that really came to surface in the last few games of our season. They were really hard fought games that we had to come back from being down really late, and so I don't know. Those last few games have just we had a couple games in a row that we were down 10-15 at
Mm-hmm.
halftime, came back and won them. I think those really sum up our year, that we were able to win games, but it wasn't easy, and we never took that for granted. That it was special, and I think we acknowledged that, and we just took it game by game.
Just being able to keep yourself within striking distance, and then ramping up your level of play right when you needed to the most. So that, yeah, I looked at a lot of the different posts and articles and clips and stuff
Mhm.
like that, and yeah, you guys were not making it easy on your fan base, I can tell you that.
Not at all. We were, but I think we kind of set the tone at a certain point because we kept doing it so often that it was
Yeah,
kind of an expectation just to get down and come back and win and make it interesting.
yeah. Let's see, Kristen
Mhm.
Engel. This is a teacher that you had from seventh grade. She said, "Hi Hannah, from
Mhm.
Mrs. Engel, former seventh grade teacher at Lewis and Clark Middle School. So fortunate to continue to be able to keep in touch with her after all these years. She's phenomenal, and I'm so proud of her on and off the court." So,
Well, thank you, Miss Engel. I appreciate that. She's always been a big supporter of mine. Like she said, she was my seventh grade English teacher, and so she's been supporting me and keeping up with me ever since seventh grade. And she actually teaches now in St. Louis, and I was able to last year had the opportunity to actually visit her school in person, and kind of give a presentation to a lot of the students there, just about being a college athlete and my
mhm.
experiences and all that. And it was a really good time. And so shout out Miss Engel. She does a great job at not only supporting me but supporting her students now, and helping them succeed in whatever their future endeavors are.
Yeah, that's great. It's outstanding teachers like her that helped form you
Mhm.
into the person that you are, and along with your family and others. But wanted to
Definitely.
quickly say, Uncle Danny is proud of you, and thanks for the dog Trixie.
Shout out Uncle Danny. Yep,
Yeah,
Trixie was our one short dog that we had for very few months, and then we decided it was better for them to have her, and she loved it there. So guess we're a dog family more than I thought we were.
yeah. Uh, we got okay. So Mary Osterley says yes. Those close games about gave Grandma Gracie and I a heart attack. So, yep,
Yep, we definitely needed to turn it off at halftime if you wanted to, have a calm, relaxing evening. That's for
yeah.
sure.
Nah, nobody wants that. They just want to be amped up through
Had
the
to make it
evening.
fun.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Uh, what will you miss about your teammates from Pittsburgh State? Again, I know you only were with them for a certain amount of time, but what are you going to cherish about that?
Yeah, so I know you had mentioned that I'd graduated. A lot of people actually think I'd graduated, but I've not because since I transferred in some of my credits,
Okay.
how that worked, I actually have another academic year,
Okay.
which I would have had another semester even if I stayed at Drake because I'm an elementary education major.
Mhm.
So student teaching usually gives an extra semester in most cases. But I do have another academic year, so I'll be around some of them, just helping a little bit with the team. But this past year, there was a group of us. There were five seniors, so there's definitely a handful that are leaving, and
Mhm.
that's sad to see them go. But it's just incredible to see how close we all have gotten in the
Yeah.
one year. And I've said this before to them and in press conferences that they made it feel like I was there for 4 years, which is I think really hard to do. But
Mhm.
it was that really represents how close we all got, and I'll
Yeah.
miss all of them, but they're all fairly close, all in Kansas. So hopefully I'll be able to visit them, or they'll be able to come visit next year, and we'll still be pretty close. So.
Yeah. You're still
Mhm.
going to get to spend some time in Kansas. Okay, that's a good thing.
Yeah, so you're a fan of that, the
Yeah.
KU
Right,
supporter
because
over here.
and what I always would share with your dad is that when he would say stuff about Kansas, and I would just say that I am here to help you with unforgiveness. That was it.
Exactly, exactly. Then we can't argue with that, right? We can't
No,
argue with
we can't. Can't. And the reality is that Mizzou would knock off Kansas when they were number one team in the
that.
country, and I mean, how many times that happened, and so it's okay. I just enjoy watching
It's
good
always the
basketball.
rivalries. They
Yeah,
make you play better than you should, right? Some days you
that's
shouldn't be that
absolutely it.
good, and some days they shouldn't be that good. And That's just how it works.
That's how it works. Absolutely. You still got to
Hmm.
play the game. Uh, this was a
Exactly.
question I was going to ask, but I'm glad that Steve has shared this. Steve Bolton says, loved Hannah's leadership with FCA this year. Why don't you share about that?
Yeah, so Steve Bolton, he's one of the FCA kind of district like coordinators. I don't know. He's gonna laugh at me because I definitely botched his exact title. But he kind of came in to Pittsburgh State this past year. FCA had already been at Pitt State a few years ago, and it kind of died off, wasn't a thing anymore. And so FCA sent Steve our way to our campus to kind of start it back up. We met earlier of last year, and we kind of talked, about starting it back up at Pittsburgh State. Ended up launching it at the end towards the end of the first semester this past year, and had a huge number. I think around like 70 student athletes around there, and it kind of stayed pretty steady throughout. Obviously, it's hard with sports teams. The
Yeah.
football team's gone, and there's a lot of football players like it fluctuates your numbers a little bit, but it was really steady throughout the year, and we saw a ton of just fellowship and a lot of fruitful conversations that came out of that. And I think it's something that is in a really good place that will just continue to grow there at Pittsburgh State. So shout out Steve for helping us lead that and set it up.
Yeah. I had seen that and I thought, yes, that's Hannah. That's awesome.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Yep. No,
Yeah.
me and FCA are not distant at all. I've been doing it since I was in high school, did it at Drake, did it at Pitt State, so just my thing now.
Yeah. Very good. I'm
Mhm.
glad you're doing that. You got a good heart and keep sharing that with other people. That's
Thank you.
You keep that up. Talking about
Thank
good
you.
people, my friend Derek Spicer just said Hannah is a nice young lady that is a good athlete that comes from a great family, and it's true.
Well, tell Derek, thank you. I appreciate that. That's everyone's giving me a little more hype than I probably deserve on here.
Nah,
I need to start pitching. I'm like, say some nice stuff about Kirk. He
no,
needs something to look back on.
there, there.
I'm
No.
just joking with
This
you.
is about you. This is about you.
I know. Maybe someday we'll have a new episode and I'll interview you.
Okay,
Maybe
hey,
we'll.
we'll do something different. I might get
There we
nervous
go.
if somebody's asking me questions. I don't know about that.
But hey, maybe we'll have to do that. Coming soon. Part
Okay,
two.
okay. All right. Who knows? We might do something like that. I don't know.
There we
Also,
go.
friend Kim Dickey, she says your biggest fan is watching you. So
I love
thanks,
Kim.
Kim.
Kim
Yeah.
Kim might actually be one of the people when she says she's my biggest fan. I think she might actually be. But I'm her
Okay.
biggest fan too. So.
Okay. Yes, she's a great lady. So,
Mhm.
why don't you tell us now? Let's go on into about your family and how supportive that they have been all throughout your career.
Yeah, definitely. My family, we're a really tight knit group. Um, and I don't know, I can't even put them into words because they have just been my rock. They every best part about me and anything that people compliment me about, they're all it's all my parents, all my family comes from them. They really have instilled in me since day one, and my brother would attest to this too. That hard work. If you want something, go work hard for it. Don't make excuses. Just work for it, and you'll get exactly what God wants you to have. And then also just like being persistent. They've always taught me that when you start something, you finish it. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing that they've taught me. And honestly, my family's been such a good just model of who to be, how to walk the day to day life, whether that's my faith or just day to day stuff. And so really, I can't they've taught me so much and given me so much advice, but I really just learned the most from sitting back and watching them on a day to day basis. That they really are exactly who they are in front of
Right.
people, behind closed doors. All of it. I don't know. I can't brag about them enough.
Yeah. Miss Angela, and by the way, she told me to make sure that I tell you hello. And we
Miss
were just
Angela's my favorite.
yeah, we were just talking about
Mhm.
that before. That you can tell a person with a true character and that they are just like they are in church as they are at home, and
Mhm.
outside of church they're living that same kind of life. And sadly, there's a lot of people out there that are not the same way. And so
Hmm.
you do have a family that lives that way, and so you're
Hmm.
following in that line and doing an outstanding job. What would you say, Hannah, that you appreciate about or what you admire about your parents and your sibling, cousins, grandparents, other relatives? Feel free to share anything there.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought about this question for a while, and it feels like a loaded question because I could go on and on about them. But really, as cliche of an answer it might be, the only answer I can think of is that they treat me in the way that Jesus would. Obviously, they're not perfect, but they really just show me so much love and compassion. And when I mess up, they're right there. But also when I'm on the mountaintops, they're also right there. So I would just say the steadiness that they have taught me of, Jesus's love for me and the way that they treat me. Um, I'm just so grateful for. And so I think not everybody's blessed with a family that's so faith oriented as mine, but I would not trade it for the world because I know there's days that are hard that they show me Christ's love that
Mm-hmm.
I probably don't even deserve, but they're so good in that way. And so that's probably what I would say is that they've shown me Jesus's love in more ways than I can even put into words.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Hmm.
I've seen that. So you are I'm a
Hmm.
witness to that. So now, what I'm not a witness to is Rodney is coming back and saying that he knows
Oh
all
no.
that film of watching me. You learned a lot. So you must have been studying his film. What about that?
Yeah, tell Rodney those clips must only be on his camera because I don't think I've ever seen them. Any film of him, tell him that.
All
Rodney, I
right.
need to see those clips because I don't think
Yeah.
I've watched much film on you.
Now I have actually seen in person his ability to hit a softball, and he can hit a softball pretty good.
I'll give him
I,
that. I've heard that a time or two, but
okay. All right.
for
Why don't
sure.
you tell us a little bit about the sports camp that you're getting ready to do for the summer, and
Hmm.
if anybody is interested in attending that, what do they do?
Hmm. Yeah, so the sports camp, I'm more of kind of just like a helper, one of the trainers a little bit. It's through Devin Griffin. He runs Ham Fam Basketball. That was the program that I kind of trained with when I was in middle school and high school. He was my main trainer. I've been back in town, plan on being here a little bit this summer, and reach out to him that if he wanted any help or somebody to help with any camps, to reach out. And he reached out about this camp we're doing in Columbia. It's several weeks in Columbia, so depending on what age of kids you might have or people you can look on my page or also look on the Ham Fan basketball page to see those dates and the times and all that. But it's just a fun thing to do. I think it's only a couple hours each morning, depending on which session you sign up for. But he is such a great trainer. Everything he does is so genuine. He has tons of experience doing it. And so I'm excited just to be able to help out with that, and obviously just make some connections with all the kids there that show up and maybe give them a word or two of advice on how to do it at the college level. I might know a thing or two maybe.
Yeah. See, this program, I'm getting it all. It's all worked out. I know you can have a phenomenal camp if you will just apply some of these principles. Have T-shirts that have skills drills. Have
Oh.
that on, and then show clips and highlights of Rodney and everything that he taught you. I think this would be very
What?
effective.
Do you think we would need to charge people for that, or I think we might need to
I,
pay people to come to
I,
that? I don't
well,
know
I
if
don't
we
know.
can get them to.
I'll
That's
leave that up
I
to
like
you.
the idea.
I'll leave it up to you.
That's funny.
All right. Brian Lawson says that Hannah is a great role model, and yes, she is.
Thank you, Brian. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Uh, all right. Well, you've flown through your answer to this last one that I had. You already did that earlier, so we're good there. But I want to just ask you some of the nitty gritty stuff. So, what's your favorite go to meal or snack after a game?
Oh boy. After a game, that's a tough one. But you said snack in there, so I'm gonna go with all of my past teammates, they're gonna know exactly what I'm about to say. But a Dairy Queen Blizzard has been my go-to ever since I was at Pittsburgh State, and so anytime I would joke with them, depending on how well the game would go, would be what size of blizzard I would get. And so if the game went really well, um, actually, now that I think about it, I think I might have gotten a large regardless because if the game went really well, I was
Yeah.
like, I deserve a large.
Well,
And if
yeah,
it went really
absolutely.
bad, I was like, I need a large. So the size would kind of fluctuate, but that definitely a Dairy Queen Blizzard, that's my go-to for sure.
Yeah, that's two different requirements there. I need one or I deserve one. Those are
Yep,
two different things. You got it covered. That's
exactly.
good.
I would try and justify it regardless. So,
All right. So when I sent you the questions, I had one in there that I transposed from another one, and it was about um, talking about being Spider-Man. So we know you never said that, but if you were to compare yourself as some type of a superhero on the sport, on the court, which one would that be most closely resembling your competitive nature?
oh geez, I'm I'm gonna be so bad at this question because I don't know a thing about superheroes. Is my
That's good.
honest answer.
That's good.
So, I'm a nerd, and all I do is go to church, read my Bible, and play basketball. So, I don't know how good of an answer I can give you for this, but I would like to be the Flash if I could like fake compare myself because I'd like to have that speed. So
Okay.
I'm gonna say I wish I was the Flash
Okay.
because I can't. I don't know if I can give you enough answer for
No, I think you
who I
did
think I
good.
am, but
You did good.
I'll take it.
Let's see. Jacobs or Danny says Larry Birdie.
Oh boy.
Awesome.
Oh,
Uh,
Larry Bird. I wish I played like Larry Bird. That'd
yeah.
be nice.
Tristan Porter says, ask Hannah about the post Ledbetter training gas station runs.
Oh boy. So Tristan and I and Trishelle and some of our other close AAU friends, we used to train in Columbia with a program called Ledbetter. They're out of St. Louis. My coach Andrew Stone from high school, he's at Southern Boone now, the head coach there, but he would train us there in Columbia. And Melanie actually, sometimes my parents, but Melanie a lot of the times would drive us back from Ledbetter in Columbia, and we would stop at the gas station every week. And I would always get the same Doritos and a large Dr. Pepper, and they would all get their fancy snacks, and we had a routine. So I don't know if I would advise that to future athletes. Probably not the best idea after you work out, but we did it, and we can laugh about it now. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. I got to put this up on screen because you might need to revisit this from time to time because here's what he's saying. Hannah, we're all proud of you. It was a joy watching you grow to a great young lady. So
There it
you can,
is. I knew he had something. He just had
yeah,
to he had to hit me with the joke first. But shout out Rodney. He knows we all love him, and he's
yeah,
been a really big supporter of mine. That's for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Hmm.
I know from different times I've talked to him, he mentioned you and he,
Hmm.
proud of you, just like what he said there. So, okay, this will be the last speed round question, and I'll let you give any final thoughts. But so, when you left to college, what would you say was your least favorite chore at the house to do? I mean, what you did not like to do. This is before you left to college, and now that you've been to college,
Hmm.
has that changed any?
Yeah, I'm sure my mom is laughing right now because any chore I'm sure I complained and did not want to do when I was in high school or middle school. But I actually, since I've been in college and have had my own place, and some of my roommates, my main roommate at Drake, she actually taught me she loved to clean. So she got me on board with it. And now I love to clean. I clean everything,
Wow.
always like everything clean. And so I think my mom has appreciated that since I've been home, but also probably wish I had that trait when I was at home all the time. But honestly, I love cleaning. But the chore I probably disliked the most when I was in high school was probably any chore that was my brother's that got reassigned to me. So I
Okay.
probably didn't mind do it, but if he was supposed to do it and then I got put in charge of doing it, that's probably would be the one I would pick.
Okay. There you go. Well, it's pretty cool that you do like cleaning now, and I'm sure your mom will take it when she can get it. So even
Yeah,
if it,
maybe don't post this now because she's gonna pull this up anytime I don't want to clean. So I
she's
don't
already
know.
watching, she's already watching,
Yep.
and she says right here, "I'm laughing. She loves to clean now!" Exclamation point.
She's not
Um,
wrong.
yeah. Well, Hannah, I mean, great job, and I would like to do this again sometime, and maybe we'll try your format just for a little bit, but we got to get back and ask you how to do stuff. But any final comments
Definitely.
or any shout outs that you want to give before we end tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you letting me come on here. I know, you have a busy schedule with everything, and so it means a lot that you would invite me on here, but also means a lot to everybody that's stuck around and listened and, listened to me ramble about my crazy basketball career. Everyone that's been a part of it or, been supportive of it. I see everybody, I notice everybody, and I appreciate it. Everyone has been a huge impact in my career. Shout out all my teammates, my hundreds of teammates I've had over the years. They're the ones that make it fun and make it worth it every day. So shout out to all of them.
Can you read this statement on here real quick? Can you see that?
Oh boy, did you hire her? Is that what it said?
Do you hire her out?
Oh, do you hire? Yeah, tell her I'm gonna have to start charging for anything I clean around here. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
That was from Kim Dickey asking
That's funny.
if you
Yeah,
would. Yeah. So she's
tell
wanting to
tell
check with
Kim
your mom.
I'll have to message her and let her know.
Yeah, very good.
That's
And
funny.
Deanna, yes, it was a lot of fun. Your mom said, "Thank you, it was a lot of fun." So, Hannah, you did a great job. If you will hold on while I close out the program, I'll visit with you really quickly afterwards. But very good job, and thank you for
Sounds
coming on
good.
tonight.
Thanks, Kirk.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey guys, thanks for joining us tonight. And as you can see, it got a little dark at one point. We had some lightning going on out here, and I don't know if it just messed up this one particular light, but it just brought the glare down. It's all right. But we had a lot of fun. It was really, really good for me to be able to catch up with Hannah. Hadn't seen her in a long time. Been following her on Facebook through her journey at Drake and at Pittsburgh State, and just again, as you guys already know, and as you've seen tonight, just an outstanding young lady. And thank you, Rodney. You did a great job with all your comments too. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching us tonight. This has been One Nation of Sports Locker Magazine Extra. I'm your host, Kirk DeMars. God bless you, and we will see you next week.